From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
I'm Tomoko Steen from Science, Technology, and Business Division of the Library of Congress. And it's my pleasure to introduce the distinguished speaker, Professor Tateo Arimoto. I've known him 5 years, maybe. It's 5, 6 years. And it's my pleasure to each time very interesting conversation we can have with Professor Arimoto. So Professor Arimoto is a professor, National Graduate Institute of Policy Studies. In acronym is GRIPS in Japan. And he's also Director General of the Research Institute of Science and Technology for Society, RISTEX at Japan. And today's topic, we had event 2 years ago in March, the big earthquake as well as the meltdown and nuclear policy, energy policy, also environmental policy. It's all very complicated in Japanese science policy now. And also last December, we had a new prime minister and the party changed. So Professor Arimoto is going to cover all these issues and answer your questions. So before further ado, please join me to welcome Professor Arimoto.
Thank you so much, dear Tomoko-san. Kind introduction. And everybody here, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, exciting opportunity. It's a wonderful room, beautiful room, American style, traditional style. Anyway, this morning, my title is the Japan New Government and New Science, Technology, and Innovation Policies. The background, the scene is the picture of the Kyoto, traditional old capital, in snow. Last December. Anyway, I'm going to talk about this morning these items, new government and new policies. And second, lesson learned from the March 11th great earthquake, tsunami, and the nuclear accident, reflecting the science and technology policy. And the third point is the great transportation of the world systems these 20 years. And fourth point is under the new administration, how to make the Japan's new science, technology, innovation policy, and redesign. We need redesigning STI innovation ecosystems. And finally, I can show you some new perspectives. So the first, new government and new policy. Yes, Tomoko-san said to you, Japan had the new administration after the 3.5 years, the old regimes, Japan's Democratic Party, DPJ. So this is I can show you the excerpt from the statement by the new Prime Minister, Mr. Abe, December 26. He pointed out several important points. Is Japan is currently in a critical situation from the political viewpoint as well as economic viewpoint. Put a stop to the political confusion, trust. His keyword is recover, regain the trust in politics. And the creation of New Japan led through the true political leadership and the mutual trust between politics and the public sectors and the general publics. And the second point is the important point. He showed the 4 pillars. His policies, the rebuilding, revitalized Japan's economy, diplomacy, and education. And the final point is the peace of mind of the general public daily life. And the economic viewpoint, the revitalizing plan of the economy is consists in the three pillars. One is the bold monetary policies. Now Japan's central bank is reconsidering their policies. And second point is the flexible public finance policies. Now the new government preparing the stimulus package, something like the 4 years of the Obama administration's complementary budget, probably the stimulus package to be sent to the Congress late this month. And the final point is important, the growth strategy, including the new science and technology policies, particularly encouraging the private sector investment. And the other point is the restore the reliable Japan-U.S. alliance. These 3.5 years, the old Democratic parties, the regime, my personal view is not working well. Some point is they destroy the U.S.-Japan alliance collaborations. So Mr. Abe would like to regain trust and the reliable collaborative, the alliance. And the second point is this is important in the field of the science and the technology policy. He would like to cultivate world-leading academic abilities. And fourth point is the peace of mind and rebuild the sustainable social security systems and making the Japan nation's infrastructure, social infrastructure, is more resilient for the disaster and the terrorism. And we need reform the crisis management and aging infrastructures. So I can show you this time these pictures. Just after the beginning of the old previous administration, 3 years ago, they want to cut down the budget in the field, even in the field of the science. So the left-hand side, she is reading these works. Madame Lempo. Later, she was assigned the minister of the governmental reform. So the right-hand side, it's okay. This is important message. Yes, she says, why must Japan aim to develop the world #1 supercomputer? What's wrong with being the world #2? This message destroyed the trust in between politics and the science. Particularly, you may know well-known the Nobel laureate Professor Tonegawa, and the right-hand side is the Noyori Sensei. He's the president now, the Riken Institute. Anyways, those are distinguished, not only the distinguished professors, but also the young scientists, young student, worried previous administration and recognition of the science. My personal view is since that time this dispute and distrust has not been restored. How to rebuild trust in between politics and science? This is the important first priority, the new administration, the agenda in the field of the science policies. Okay, next chapter is lesson learned from the Fukushima nuclear accident and tsunami and earthquake. Last year, the cabinet level decision, last June, the white paper on science and technologies, published. The main title is Toward Robust and Resilient Societies Based upon the Science and Technology Knowledge. So before I'm going to show you some details of the white papers. This is important pictures, disastrous trend. Question to the general public: should expert professors decide the direction of science and technology, or the science and technology policies? Before the March 11th big earthquake, most of all general public, around 80%, supported. It's okay. But after the March 11th, less than half of the general public support that traditional directions, because the Japan science and technology community and the science advisors within the government, they couldn't take appropriate countermeasures and advice to the prime minister and ministers and local government during the disastrous situations. So coming back the contents of the white paper here, on the ST science and technology, last June. So this white paper showed us the recognition science communities and science policy sectors cannot give the insufficient response to the risk and inappropriate provision of scientific knowledge, and we are lacking a national system utilizing R&D result to cope with actual institute disasters. And it's now important to not only recover the public trust by reviewing and reconstruct STI policies, but also promote STI in response to social needs. So this white paper take the priorities, the new science activities, including risk communication, technology assessment, regulatory science, and finally Japan need reform of the scientific advisory system to high-ranking officials and including the prime ministers, something like the case of the United States, United Kingdom, and EU, as well as you may understand even the United Nations now they are considering such a science advisory system. Under such situation, we need code of conduct, new code of conduct, how to bridge science and politics and government in policy making. So I and my colleague, Dr. Sado, published this paper, titled Rebuilding Public Trust in Science for Policy Making, last September in Science Journal. The keywords show here the independence, responsibilities, the broad respect, and the balance, quality, integrating viewpoints, uncertainty and diversities, free disclosure, and even-handed treatment by the government, and finally the transparencies. Our recommendation, now Japan's National Academy of Sciences in Tokyo, based upon our recommendation, reconsider their code of conduct. Probably they fixed until the March this year. So next chapters. Great transformation of the world systems. This is a short history. There's a 20 years world change of the world. You may remember 1989, the Berlin Wall broken down. Cold War ended. And 3 years after that time, the internet services had been opened to the general public. So politically, as well as technologically, world has been connected to the edge of the globe So the globalization is running intensively and with the complexity and uncertainties. And these 20 years, we are facing the big disasters, artificial disasters and the natural disasters and climate change and political uprising and the economic crisis several times. So how to cope these complex and uncertainty world. So rules of the games are changing. Games, of course, not only the private sectors, private companies' strategy, but also the national public policies and the strategy and management of the universities and science and technology policies, of course. So we need innovation and entrepreneurship, and we need combinations, not only the technological innovation, but also the social innovation for creating new values. And we need redesigning governance of STI globally, regionally, Asia, and Northern America, and the African, regionally, nationally, and locally. And finally, we have a long history of the modern science. We need keeping scientific integrity under the changing world, of course. So I can show you the two pictures made by the National Science Foundation, National Science Board. This is the R&D expenditures increasing rapidly these 10 years, particularly in Asia, particularly China and Korea. And another point is the scientists, engineers, and the doctor degrees, the numbers of these professionals increasing rapidly, also in Asia. So the different viewpoint, I make you pay attention this important declaration, 1999, just before the beginning of the 21st century, the United Nations, UNESCO, and the International Council of Scientific Unions, World Organization of the National Academy of Sciences, those international organizations co-hosted World Science Conferences. At that time, it took 1 week to discuss about the responsibility and commitment of science and technology in the new century, 21st centuries, new values. 20th centuries, of course, the science for knowledge, knowledge for progress. But the 21st centuries, if we need sustainable support by the general public and the world, we need to change values of science. Of course, we keep the science for knowledge, but also the science for peace, science for sustainable development, and finally the science in society and science for societies. This is the world-famous Budapest Declarations. Every 2 years, World Science Forum has been held in Budapest to check and reviews of this commitment worldwide and the national levels. So based upon this declaration, the STI in the 21st centuries. STI for what in the 21st centuries? Of course, the STI for knowledge, for profit, for competitiveness, for growth. This is the traditional values. But also the STI now, the values is expanding for employment, for well-being and quality of life, for safety, security, and social cohesion, and sustainability and resilience. So the STI having their very diverse values, how to accomplish, how to respond those requests and demand from the societies, we need redesign policy making and policy process of STI, of course. So, fourth chapters under the new administration, new LDP administration, the making Japan's new STI policy and redesigning STI innovation ecosystems. Of course, the new administration was inaugurated just 10 days ago, late December, last December. So we don't have yet the real message in the field of science policy. But I can show you some my expectation, personal. So I show you the short history of our Japan's legal framework of the science and technology policies. Here, 1995, Japan's Congress unanimously, non-partisan, enacted Science and Technology Basic Law. Based upon this basic law, the Japanese government have been making every 5 years basic plan, including the budget size of the 5 years budget size investment. First, second, third basic plan. So those previous basic plan, the main policy is the so-called discipline-based policies. Discipline-based means the priority 4 years: life science, ICT, information communication technology, environmental technology, nanotechnology, and material sciences. But this time, fourth basic plan, this is covering the 2011 through the 15. Fourth basic plan was decided by the cabinet levels, Japanese government, August 2011, after the March 11th, reflecting the disasters. So that this time, the considerably changed the basic concept. You may see the here. Okay, here. So-called issue-driven, beyond the discipline-based policies. Issue-driven means the problem-solving or the demand-driven policies. And this basic plan decided the three priority field. Three priority field is recovery and reconstruction from the disasters, March 11th, and second point is green innovation. Third point is life innovation. Based upon these kind of the issue-driven, not the discipline-based policies, we need system reform. And also in line with the system reform, we need bridging science and societies and public participation and ethical, legal, and social issues and technology assessment, science and this communication. Finally, the fundamental point is we need promoting social science, new social science of science and technology innovation policies. So I can show you some accomplishment of under these previous science policies. Particularly the typical point is Professor Yamanaka's Kyoto University got the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine last year. iPS cell. This is a quantum jump knowledge creation. He promised within 10 years this technology will make change the medical treatment and the drug development. But this field is the fierce competition, not only the Japanese group, but also the United States and Israel and Cambridge, of course. And the life innovation is the second priority field by the CSTP, means the Science Council. The Council of Science and Technology Policy, which is the supreme advisory board to the Prime Minister. Action plan for life innovation, the preventive medicine, regenerative medicine, innovative medical technology, and improving quality of life in aging society. And second point is green innovation, including the secure, clean energy, renewable energy, low carbon fossil energies, decentralize the energy systems, innovation for energy supply, storage, and carrier systems, energy supply chains, and innovation for energy use, saving energy technologies. And also the innovation for greener social infrastructure. Social infrastructure means, of course, a building and the road, as well as city as well. Also the incentives for these technologies, the dissemination of tax measures and the regulations. Okay, I can show you the schematic pictures of the Japan's research funding systems. This is the current research funding systems. Left-hand side is the area stage, curiosity-driven research, or the blue sky areas. This is very important reservoir of the knowledge. This stage and these areas have been supported JSPS, Japan's the biggest research funding agency. And the second phase, my mother agency, Japan Science and Technology Agency, JST, supporting the mission-oriented basic research. And third phase, NEDO, supporting exit-oriented R&D. They are making a prototype demonstration and a social experiment to bridge the market. But under the new policy, issue-driven, we need, reform, redesign funding systems for issue-driven innovation. How to bridge the science and the market and the society. But not only the Japan, but also the every countries are facing same challenges. My understanding is the U.S. Now they are focusing upon the DARPA type funding systems in not only the activities of the defense and homeland security, but also the energy, education, even the NIH. And the European side, they are having a lot of the experiments. European Technology Platform, and the Vinnova in Sweden, ANR in France, and the every country is the how to redesign funding systems for new challenges under the changing world. So my word is the international competition and collaboration, even the funding systems. So last October, Nature journal, the future, the changing map of the science. This is very important message and document to science community in the world. Keyword is the global reach, and rise of the global research networks, and the global diaspora. A lot of the collaborations in between the bilateral and multinational and global levels. So I can show you another point is made by myself. Mode of the international R&D programs. So the horizontal line is the bilateral, regional, and global levels. And vertical level is the big facilities, big monies, joint research funding, grant fellowship, and workshop. So the right-hand side, up international space stations, ITER, International Thermonuclear Fusion Reactors, Human Frontier Science Programs, etc., etc., CERN, European Molecular Biology Laboratories. Anyways, those international, regional, global, bilateral programs was designed and conducted these years by the advanced countries. But now the non-traditional players, partners, and systems coming involved in emerging economies and the private companies and private philanthropies, including the Bill Gates Foundation and Wellcome Trust, etc., etc. So the how to reorganize those programs. So under these situations, Mr. Stresh, Director General of the National Science Foundation here, invited more than 50 presidents of the national funding organizations from the world last May, so-called Global Summit on Merit Reviews. This is important message. This summit to provide, sorry. Okay. To provide a framework for increased international research cooperation and to convey accepted international standards for science funding agencies, including, my understanding is including the peer review systems and the ways and means how to keep the scientific integrities. Of course, there are many newcomers, many emerging economies. They are having different political systems and the religion, Islamic countries. So how to keep the our peer review systems. This is very important activities. So finally, I should say something conclusion. Coming back again, how to bridge policy, politics, and science. Policy, of course, the politics is the normative and value. Science, basically the objective and value-free. Normally, the two different cultures separated automatically. But no, we need continuum in between. So the bridging science policies based upon the evidence base, that is important to cope with the global challenges, national challenges, environment, energy, resources, health, aging, disaster, food, etc., etc. So that we need collaborations, politics, and science. So I can show you another point. Left-hand side is the editorials Science, November 11, 2011. Right-hand side is the Nature, February last year. It's the same in lines. Mr. Alan Reschner's CEO of the AAAS alarmed. We need rethinking the science systems. Nature, more directly, tough choices. Scientists must find ways to make more efficient use of funds, or politicians may do it for themselves. This is an important message under the current difficult budget situations. Every advanced country is facing the similar difficulties, challenges. So I summarize the gravity of scientific activities moving to developing countries, particularly in Asia, globalization and localization in running in parallel, and bridging science society and science and politics. And a new innovation model, not only the disruptive innovation, but also rigorous and frugal innovations originate by the developing countries. So we need reform, policy, system, particularly systems is the network, the platform, connectivity is important. Not only the center of excellence concept, but also the network of excellence is important, very important, beyond the boundaries. Boundaries mean the traditional disciplines, traditional organizations, nations, generations, and genders. And so finally, again, there is stress. We need redesigning, governance. And we need new social science of the science and technology and innovation policies. So that ends my presentation. Thank you so much.
We left enough time for discussion, so any questions? Yes.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
My name is Dan Cohen.
Mhm.
I work here at the Library of Congress, but I've also been working with the Board on Research Data and Information at the National Academy of Sciences here. And one of your slides mentioned cloning or emulating some of the models of the funding agencies in this country
Yeah.
and elsewhere. And I was wondering if you could speak to some particular issues having to do with matters that are of particular interest to libraries and people involved in information science. One of the relatively recent developments in our funding agency models has been an expansion of the notion that science that is publicly funded should result in research that is publicly available. And this has taken the form of, for example, NIH and now NSF and some other agencies have created mandates for the deposit of the research papers that result from publicly funded science to be deposited in open access databases. And this has been very successful
Yeah.
with NIH.
Mhm.
And in fact, there's even some expansion of that notion to include the idea of how to make the data underlying the scientific conclusions also available for scrutiny so that it is truly transparent and subject to examination for replicability and legitimacy and consistency, etc. Can you talk a little bit about what, if there is there a similar agenda contemplated in Japan for those sorts of concepts in terms of access to data to make it reusable and interoperable with other cross disciplines and such? Are there plans? I don't know if you currently have policies requiring public deposit for publicly funded research. If you would speak about that a little bit.
Yeah.
質問をリピートしてください。
My understanding, your question is okay. Your question, my understanding is the public disseminations of the researches funded by public money. That is okay. Okay. My answer is even the Japan is having the same policies with your side, and but my personal view, we cautiously separate the short range actions and long range perspectives. Short range action, every country's advanced, not only the advanced countries but the Asian countries, collaborate. We adopt such kind of the trend. Public funded accomplishment should be distributed openly to the general public and market. But it depends upon the case by case. Particularly I can show you the typical example is last year the big challenging is なんだっけな、鳥インフルエンザってどういうんですか？鳥インフルエンザ、バードフルー、avian flu, avian flu. So the science journal as well as the nature journals facing the difficulties, how to handle such excellent result to be published freely or no. dual use. So the dual use technology and knowledge, not only the life science, but also the nuclear and the space and etc. etc. Those uncertainty world, and everybody can get the information immediately. Terrorists, including terrorists. So basically, the should be keep open, but it depends upon the cautiously case by case. So that's my answer. Is it okay?
If I can add,
Okay.
actually,
Yes, yes.
I collect the Japanese science and technology collections, and the National Diet Library has, the receives all the reports, and I also get the copy as well. So most of the things, except for the defense sensitivity, we receive it. Anything publicly funded, we receive it, both here as well as National Diet Library.
I should say something. I forgot the mention the science policies of the new administration, because the new administration now put in the highest priority is the revitalization of economy. Short-sighted. Particularly the political viewpoint is until the coming summer. Summer means because the July, another election, upper house election, will be held. So the new power LDP party, they want to get major majority upper house, even upper house. Now they are different. It's similar to these countries, Senate and the lower house. So until this summer, our new government taking the priorities just economic recovery, including some viewpoint of the science and technology policy, particularly including innovation. But since the summer, and after probably I guess the LDP got the majority. So since that time, my personal observation is they wanna change the science and technology policy and the science and technology policy mechanism from the long-time viewpoint. For instance, the new science advisory systems to the Prime Minister. This is probably after the summer the high priorities. So that is the complementary my comments. So next comment or the question. Okay.
Well, thank you very much for such a full picture of the science, technology, and innovation. And I fully agree with many of the aspects which you have mentioned, particularly the need and the importance of the interactions among the policy of politics, science, technology, and society. But the question here is that how you can make this interaction more effective, efficient in terms of the three things. One is you need legal framework, budget, and human resources. Particularly, we have seen the changes of the 7 cabinets in the last 6 years.
Yes.
And you just mentioned that, well, after the July election for the House of the Council of Japan, may bring another change in science technology policy.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, how can you achieve the policies which have been established many times, where there's so many frequent change of the cabinet. How can you make these changes would be more in the line of the concept, the visions of the policies in connection with the science, budget, and human resources allocation?
Yeah. Okay. Your question is Japan is the administration, particularly the prime minister, is changing rapidly these years. Under such troubled situation, the science and technology policies and activities facing some difficulties. Also, my understanding, as I said, basically the science and technology policy as well as science and technology activities have been supported by the non-partisan parties. These 15 years after the enacting of the basic science and technology basic law. But in my personal view, these 3.5 years under the previous diplomatic party Japan ruling period, this is my personal opinion, I can show you the typical pictures here. Oh, no. Okay. She has despair. Anyway, here. Difference. I can show you the difference character of the two parties, LDP and DPJ, previous Democratic Party here. This lady here. And my personal view, even though under the LDP administrations, even though the Prime Minister is changing rapidly, but many Congress peoples who know science and technology and policies, those people supporting our policy and funding activities. But under the previous DPJ administration, there have been very few Congress people who are familiar with the science and technology activities and science and technology policies. So this is a typical example. She straightforward speaking, she has no ideas about science. So under the previous administration's 3.5 years, those kind of troubles happened frequently. So not only the policy level, but also the research, individual researchers. Oh yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. Thank you so much. Not only the policy level and distinguished scientists, but also the working level scientists and student. Their motivation have been destroyed. My personal view is in the future, Japan facing the change of the political parties, DPL, DPJ, or the LDP. So under such kind of the political situations, how to keep and maintain sustainable activities and sustainable development, science policy and science activities. So my personal view is we need how to say consistent the round table. I mean the round tables come together from the different parties and those distinguished scientists and young scientists and mass media and some cases the industrial leaders. We need, my personal intention is to develop such kind of round tables, and in order to nurture young Congress people, non-partisan, who know science. I straightforward speaking, particularly the Democratic parties, the Congress people, they understand, they recognize the science could be conducted easily under the direction of the Congress or the increase of budget. This is a childish understanding. So I don't claim those people. We need nurture such understanding, literacies of the science. Okay, is that okay? So after this meeting, we need some discussion. Okay, next, please.
Yes, but the emphasis on issue-driven STI policy, does that mean that there's going to be a decrease in funding, percentage funding going to fundamental basic research?
Mm-hmm.
Be a shift in the percentage that goes for curiosity-driven research?
Yeah, that is the important point. Is your question is balancing the funding, fundamental science and the applied technology development. So my personal concern, the new administration, as I said frequently, put the first priority is the revitalization of the economy using the scientific knowledge. If this policy continues, automatically you mentioned the public money resources could be moved from the fundamental science to the application field. But as I said, many Congress people, new administration, new parties, the LDP people, know and recognize the importance of the reserve of the fundamental science for the future innovations. So now at the moment such concern is growing, but my personal expectation is we could have a balance, fundamental science and the applied science. My personal view. Okay, next.
心に、サイエンスに影響してるんですけど、日本は関係ないですよね。宗教中心、レリジョン、フェイスっていうのは宗教です。
Ah, so. Okay, your question is the relationship, religion, and science. It's okay. Okay, yeah. So in Japan, we don't have we haven't had such kind of interrelationship, religion and science. It's okay.
I was wondering, basically, with some of the failures specific to the meltdown, and some of the cover-ups and lack of information that was provided, you showed one slide that showed sort of a decrease of confidence in science
Mm-hmm.
and technocrats. And I wonder how that's being addressed, what's happening in terms of bringing the public back to greater confidence in science.
Aha.
先生がなんかの意見ね、その住民っていうか市民の、
うん
その信頼だとか、
うん
不信感だとか、
うん
そういうものをどういうふうにして
Okay.
取り戻す
Yeah.
ことがっていう
Okay. Your question is how to rebuild trust by the general public science. So this is the very serious challenge, and this is not the short-sighted measures, but we need. My personal view is building the scientific literacy and the communication in between the scientists and the general public. This is the fundamental, and it will take a long time. But and also Japan now some sectors of the science community is concerned the scientists should have the social literacy. So in parallel, general public science literacy, scientists social literacy. Okay, next.
I found one of your slides interesting. It goes to a lot of what you said, but that's the risk analysis, especially with the Fukushima accident. It seems very difficult in science and technology to convey to the public what are exactly our risks involved in developing particular technology. Have you found in Japan a better way to get the public to understand what are the risks of pursuing with a technology and how to mitigate the risk and what is worth doing and what's not worth doing? I mean, you talked about terrorism, virus, dual-use technology. All of that has to do with how to convey to the public what needs to be mitigated better with risk. What needs to be the risk needs to be reduced, and what are the rewards in going after a particular technology?
Mm-hmm.
Have you found it seems like a very difficult problem to get over to the public. Is there any way that you found that can convey that to the public?
Yeah. So your question is my understanding is risk communication, how to do, and my personal view is my experience is the Fukushima accident and the tsunami, historic tsunami disasters. As I said, most of the Japanese scientists and science advisor, even within the government, they don't have enough knowledge and the experiences how to communicate fact and the prospect and focused about the disasters to the general public. They are only, my personal, straightforward speaking, they are only the pure scientists. Pure science means based upon their academic background. They just make speech to the general public. Based upon my academic viewpoint is this, for instance, effect of the low radiation effect. Even the prominent scientists within the national academies, they showed their own understanding directly to the general public, based upon their own academic knowledge. Academic knowledge, of course, should be the how to say accumulate the competitions. They cannot communicate fluently and with the general public. Keyword is under such situations, we need, even the academic communities, we need making unique voice or the coherent voice to the general public. Even the effect of the low-level radiation, they don't have enough, scientists, enough the exact evidence. So but how to say more comprehensive message should be communicated to the general public. Do you understand? Sorry, my knowledge is poor. Anyway, the keyword, the National Academy of Sciences in Tokyo now, considering under such a disaster situation, how to do by the scientific communities, not the individual scientists, how to make the unique voice to the general public. That is the important current word under the considerations. So after this meeting, I want to talk with you. Yeah.
So because of time. Please join me to thank you.
Okay, last question.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Sorry.
No. My conclusion is the 3 points. Is the first point is I mentioned rebuilding the trust in between the politics and science. I will have a confidence under this current administrations. And second point is the support, public support, money to the science. At the moment, stimulus package is the input much money to the science at the moment. But the long time, under the current fierce budget deficit, Japanese government facing. So we need a sustainable support. But I have some question personally. And third point is as I said, the high-level policy making mechanism and advice mechanism. It will take 1 year, but the new administration want to reform the more centralized, more communicable science advisory system to the politics as well as the general public. That's my point. Thank you.
Please join us. Thanks to Professor Arimoto. And I think we learned a lot from the Japanese case. The US can follow, I think. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.